The perfect road trip car needs to be comfortable, needs to be frugal, safe, and needs to handle bad roads, but most importantly for me, it needs to have a bit of power. What it really needs is to give me joy, a little bit of thrill of driving. Now those few words really made me think. Frugal, well, the first thing that came to my mind was a diesel engine because that's the engine of choice. But that's difficult because you don't have a lot of diesel variants available recently because that's what BS6 has done. Safety, well, not a lot of cars get the best crash test ratings, and comfortable. And the more I put these words together, the more I think of a set of cars in our long-term fleet that actually has all those points very, very valid. And I'm proud to say all of these cars are from a homegrown manufacturer. So I think it's time to take them for a bit of a road trip. Another crucial thing for a road trip is luggage space, especially when I have to go out to shoot. And as always, I have a lot of equipment. And while the SUV may be more popular, there is nothing, and I mean nothing, that beats a hatchback in the city. And one with a big boot, that's a bonus, which is exactly why I made a beeline for the Altroz. It's small, it's nimble, it's got a punchy 90 horsepower diesel engine, and that's exactly what you need to get rid of the traffic and get out of this city. Now I know that a lot of you are actually wondering, why diesel? Is it even worth buying one in this day and age? Will they get phased out very soon? While some automakers may have given up on their diesel engines for now, there are other automakers like Tata Motors, for example, who know that it still have a future, so they have invested their time and money and lots of it to make their diesel engines compliant to the stringent new norms that have cut emissions by up to a massive 80%. The takeaway from what I have said is that a lot of other diesels have dropped out of the race not because it is not a great choice, but because they simply were not good enough to comply to the new norms, and the investments to make them so was just way too high. And the fact that a diesel engine in today's day and age meets the latest BS6 emission norms with 80% less particulate matter and 68% less NOx pollutants coming out of your exhaust pipes, these new engines are considerably cleaner than any diesel in the past. But it's not only about diesels being more frugal, it's also about how the actual car is set up by the engineers, the balance between fuel economy and performance. Now, a lot of people have said recently that BS6 cars are going to be less powerful and less fuel efficient as compared to their BS4 counterparts, but that's not true in the case of the Altroz. In this case, not only is the car peppy to drive, but the way it's set up means that it gives you 25.11 kilometers per litre, and that makes it the most fuel efficient hatchback you can buy in India today. What is more impressive is the 5-star safety rating, and yes, that makes it a gold standard for road trips with family and friends. Safe, fun to drive, fuel efficient, all while being good looking and feature packed too. So yes, this one would be a great choice. But the one car that really debunks the myth of BS6 diesels having less power is the Harrier, the BS6 Harrier. And that's because this car now has 30 more horsepower than its predecessor. I, for one, am very glad that the diesels will continue to live on, considering the fact that they are fun to drive and they give you this big slug of power whenever you really need it. The Harrier, for example, has one of the most powerful engines in its class. It's a 2-litre 4-cylinder turbo diesel engine that gives you 170 horsepower and is mated to either a manual or an automatic gearbox. And now with the automatic, it's so easy to drive that you can literally cruise on the highway effortlessly. And there's so much more to like about the Harrier too. It's super spacious at the back, so there's lots of space for the family on road trips, and the panoramic sunroof just makes it feel so much more airy. It is built tough, it can literally go anywhere, and pulling up the handbrake, that makes me feel like I'm driving something really supersonic. The Harrier, I've always loved the way this looks, especially in this two-tone red and black combination and these 17-inch wheels. And you know, while big SUVs are great, there is practicality in an even smaller compact SUV. In the many lakhs of kilometers I've driven across the length and breadth of the country, I have come to realize something. A compact SUV is possibly one of the most capable highway cars out there, and also one of the best in the segment is the Nexon. Its great ground clearance allows you to do a lot more than what you think you can do with it. The Nexon is so perfectly sized for the city and has this lovely driving position which gives you a commanding view of the road, and all of this combined with the fact that it has great road presence makes it a great little highway car on these smaller state highways. It's really great to drive long distances, and when you're on a long drive, comfort matters too, and the Nexon is one of the most comfortable cars, not only for the driver but also for the passengers too, with its brilliantly set up suspension that offers a great ride and handling combo. And the fact that it now sports a rather cool sunroof means that you can have a nice and airy and brightly lit cabin too. Quite the all-rounder it is. So yes, another great car for a road trip, and it is now BS6 too. Now the Nexon uses a DPF or a diesel particulate filter, and that's one of the most essential techs you need to meet BS6 regulation norms. But recently what people have been thinking is that because it has this DPF on it, you might need to change it every few months, and that might add to maintenance costs. But that really isn't the case. The DPF in the Nexon doesn't need a scheduled replacement like other service items if it clogs, and a light on the dashboard will indicate this. To get it clean then is pretty easy. You drive at about 50 to 80 km per hour in third gear with revs just about 2000 RPM till the light goes off. It's as simple as that. And this means that it will last you a lot longer than what you think, and will keep your car running clean and green. Honestly then, I really think that diesels do need a little more praise than what they seem to be getting now. Modern diesel engines with BS6 norms are very similar to the petrol counterparts as far as maintenance cost goes. And while certain cars might have an additional expense with the SCR fluid or AdBlue, in the greater scheme of things, since refill intervals are much further spread out as compared to say getting fuel, your wallet won't hate you as much as you think. So yes, if you're worried about diesel engines being phased out, forget your worries, just go out and get one, as they are the best for road trips. And of course, the real reason to go on a road trip, it brings you to a fabulous place. Boy oh boy, what a view! I am so glad that I took the time out and took these little cars on a road trip, because, I mean, just look at it. You've got the sky above with these lovely clouds out today. You've got the beautiful hills in the background. You've got a lovely lake. I think all that needs to be done now is just enjoy the view.